Here at the Sagicor Cave Hill School of Business and Management, located at the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus, we meet the needs of the upwardly mobile professionals. Our business school functions in an evolving global space where the need to have that competitive edge distinguishes you as a professional. Our academic curriculum offers a variety of programs that gives you that edge. We offer our students a doctorate in business administration. Then, there's our executive masters in business administration. Our Sagicor Cave Hill School of Business and Management is for you. Enroll now.
Good morning, all, and welcome to our Friday webinars at the Business School UWI Cave Hill. My name is Marjorie Wharton, and I am the Strategic Business Services Director and Clinical Faculty with the Sagicor Cave Hill School of Business at the UWI Cave Hill, and I am your host for this event. Our topic today is taking your business online, opportunities and challenges. As economic circumstances continue to change across the region, many businesses and individuals are finding it necessary to change how they do business. For some, they have to take massive steps to build e-commerce platforms into their existing activities, and for others, they are starting from scratch with a new business. This webinar is intended to discuss the opportunities and the challenges that are associated with both of those types of changes. Our panelists are drawn from two different fields. Keron Rose focuses on helping businesses and individuals who are building online businesses, and Phillips works in the field of digital currency. As always, our webinar is scheduled to run for an hour and 15 minutes. As the discussion progresses, please remember that you are encouraged to ask your questions. On your screens, look for the option on the bottom labeled Q&A. You can use that at any time during the webinar to submit your questions. For those of you on Facebook, you can also enter your questions into the feed, and we will be able to add them or bring them to our presenters. Here on Zoom, you can also use the chat feature. As we go along, the panelists will try to respond to as many of your questions as time allows. We are expecting to have a very interactive discussion. Now let me introduce our panelists. Keron Rose is the owner and tech blogger behind the brand Droid Island. He teaches Caribbean entrepreneurs and business owners how to build an online business and transition components of their existing businesses online via his platform, KeronRose.com. Originally from Canada, Keron moved to the beautiful island of Trinidad and Tobago at the end of 2013 with a unique mash of skills. What started off as a goal to blog about the smartphone industry in the Caribbean has turned into a passion for entrepreneurship, e-commerce, and learning about the digital tools that can help Caribbean entrepreneurs participate in the global economy. His focus is on ensuring that the Caribbean region knows and understands the tools, platforms, and software that can help entrepreneurs build and leverage in order to grow in the digital age. Welcome to you, Keron Rose.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Our second panelist, Stephen Phillips. An award-winning technology scientist and international consultant, he has led the development and launch of Bit.com's blockchain-based mobile money platform, M-Money, with over 2,000 participating M-Money merchants and tens of thousands of users in Barbados. More recently, Stephen spearheads the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank's digital currency pilot project for Bit.com, which is soon to launch a central bank-issued digital currency based on blockchain technology. This project seeks to transform the developing nations of the ECCU in providing critical payment systems infrastructure to reduce costs, improve payments efficiency, and provide greater levels of financial inclusion throughout the region. With over 20 years of executive management experience in world-leading technology and telecommunications companies, Stephen is recognized as a technology leader, awarded first-class honors in computer science from the University of Sunderland, UK, and a Master of Science degree from Brunel University, also in the UK, where he has furthered research into artificial intelligence, genetic algorithms, wireless, and distributed systems. Welcome, Stephen Phillips.
Thank you for having me, Marjorie.
Very welcome, sir. Happy to have both of you gentlemen here. So to get us started, I am going to invite each of you to just lead off with a few opening comments to kind of set the scene for what we're going to be talking about today. Keron, I'm going to ask you to go first, and then we're going to come to you, Stephen. So over to you.
Not a problem. So to start off again, I just want to thank you guys for having me as a part of this discussion. I think it is timely. We're at a place now where most of us have just gotten past the first phase of COVID in the Caribbean, and COVID has shown us that we are really unprepared for moving our businesses to the digital space. But it presents an amazing opportunity because now we have actually been forced to even start thinking online. We have been forced to start thinking about, okay, if we can't do business in person, if we can't hand somebody cash, how do we conduct business digitally? And it's a conversation that pre-COVID, it happened, but it was always like a nice to have, or it wasn't really a focus. There was no pressure behind it. And I know here in Trinidad, the minute they shut down everything, everybody lost their minds because it was like businesses just vanished overnight. Yeah, they might have still had an online or a Facebook presence, but you couldn't do anything with them. You couldn't purchase from them. You couldn't buy from them. Nothing was set up where I could continue a relationship with that business. So the silver lining for us here in the Caribbean is that COVID is really challenging us now to get onto the world stage, and we're going to be better for it. For me, we have so many tools and platforms that we can use right now to shift businesses online. What we have been lacking is the how-to knowledge on just doing it. Simple things like having a website that's e-commerce ready. Pre-COVID, you tell most businesses, hey, why don't you have a website? Why don't you have, your products and services online so that we can purchase? And they would just respond with, well, we have Facebook. And it's not the same thing. You can't conduct e-commerce on Facebook in the Caribbean because the tools needed for e-commerce on social media are blocked for our region. So the most that can happen is I DM you to set up the sale. But at the end of the day, if you decide to take that day off, or maybe you don't respond quick enough, and your customer goes to somebody else's platform, jumps on their website and can swipe their card online and make the payment, you've just lost the sale. So it's COVID is really pushing us now to start to think beyond that. Now that the conversations are happening where, okay, well, how do we get paid online? How do we do business online? Now people are willing to start to learn how this entire process happens. So it's a really good time right now for the Caribbean. It's been a long time coming, and I'm just excited to see more businesses make that shift. and we're moving past the conversations now. Now we're starting to get into, well, how do we actually do this thing? And now that people are starting to learn and start to implement these things, they're starting to realize, well, why weren't we doing this before? And again, so these conversations that are happening, like what we're doing today, are timely, they are needed, and I hope that both Stephen and I can impart a lot of practical knowledge to get you guys started. So, this isn't just going to be a talk shop where, it's all theory. We want to be able to give you some actionable things that you can take and do right now to start to make your shift.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And
No
Stephen,
problem.
your opening comments?
Sure. So again, thanks for having me. And, I want to follow on for what Mr. Rose was saying. COVID, the pandemic, the great lockdown, it really has helped propel the need for digital payments and facilitating businesses in a much greater way. So if I can touch on what I see from where I sit as some of the kind of issues that businesses have in delivering on this vision for online payments. In Barbados, our experience was really traumatic. There were a lot of businesses scrambling to figure out how to have customers pay online, and it was quite chaotic. And from my mind, it really highlighted the fact that the infrastructure, accessible infrastructure, is really missing. There isn't any, local or even regional infrastructure that would allow a business to go online in a simple manner, in a cost-effective manner, in an accessible manner. And as a whole, digital payments are not very inclusive in the region. Some of the numbers are staggering, but in some economies in the region, it's upwards of 90% payments happen in cash. And when we look at more developed economies and societies, that figure is like really low, much less than 50%, 30, 20%. And in some places like Sweden, it's like cash, you can't even find cash. It's that, the use of it is that low. Everything is done electronically with cards, with wire transfers, with mobile apps, etc. So we're definitely lagging behind as a region in terms of facilitating online business and e-commerce. And this has effects for our ability to grow, our ability for our economies to grow, our abilities for businesses to innovate and to deliver new products and services to add value to consumers' lives. And coupled with that, it also has implications for the ease of doing business. As we know, these ratings come out pretty often, and the region generally fares in the hundreds when compared to competitors. And we are a tourist industry, predominantly region, and we rely a lot on foreign direct investment. And the ease of business definitely has a role to play in attracting investors. If I have to go and stand in a queue to open a business or to pay taxes, it becomes a less attractive environment. So there's been a definite shift globally to more digital payments. We have companies or organizations like Libra launching a white paper talking about providing solutions to everyday citizens. We have corporate coins like JP Morgan, and we also have central banks. In a recent survey by Bank of International Settlements, we have 80% of the central banks who responded. They're actually doing work into central bank digital currencies to help solve some of these problems, provide this infrastructure that would allow the average person on the street to make digital payments outside of needing a bank, because financial inclusion is a big part of it. It becomes more of a common good, having this infrastructure where the coconut vendor, your mom, your aunt, anyone can make a digital payment. You don't have to leverage financial services from a bank. And this, this has potential implications for productivity of the economy. When you can make payments remotely, you can receive benefits remotely. You don't have to get a check and go stand in a line, travel to go stand in a line and then wait. And then then travel somewhere to pay someone. It's just ridiculous. And we need to solve these problems if we're going to grow and be able to compete on a global scale.
All right, thank you very much. So thank you very much to both of you for those comments, because one of the things that I envisioned when we put together the two of you on our panel, we wanted to really have the discussion that acknowledges the fact, yes, we want to move towards doing more digital operations in terms of activities online, but we also have to be able to figure out how to receive payment for those activities. And so our conversation today is intended to address both of those issues. So you've mentioned, Stephen, the fact that there is such a thing as a central bank digital currency. We're going to talk more about that, particularly because the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank is actually moving in that direction. So that's going to come up in our discussion today, because I want our attendees to have an understanding of what is available or becoming available in the region. But Keron, let's start a little bit with you. Let's talk about what are perhaps the first things that an individual needs to consider when they are looking to take their business online. So whether they already have an existing website or existing business, or if they're starting from scratch, just in case those are different things.
So if you have an existing business, most businesses need to start thinking about, well, what exactly are they looking to bring online? If they're looking to take payments, payments for their products and services online, are they looking to increase the way that they attract business? Because there's so many businesses that are still relying on papers, print, radio. They're not using social media. They're not creating content. You have to look at your entire funnel as to how you attract customers, where you're driving customers to right now. And if you want to sell online, or if you're selling online, you got to look at your entire pipeline and see exactly what are you looking to bring online. We have many businesses that are still operating, fully we So when they're attracting customers, it's print, radio, TV. They're not using a website. We still have a lot of businesses where they're still not even using a free Facebook or Instagram page, right? And then the conversation is, if you are using a Facebook or Instagram page, do you actually understand how to use it? So for me, one of the biggest challenges whenever I'm working with the businesses that are already established, whether it's government or whether it is a mom and pop shop, is, do you have the right personnel internally that is going to help you shift to really going online and transform that business? Many of these businesses are still relying on their IT people who went to university 10, 20 years ago to fix computers and fix your printers. And those are the guys that are leading the charge for your digital transformation. But then when you go in and have the conversation and you're talking about, simple things like taking online payments and receiving the money, in their mind, it's such a foreign concept that they give you a lot of pushback when it doesn't have to be that way. So companies need to start investing in the personnel to upskill. You need to start looking at your entire funnel in terms of what you want to bring online. And if you're starting a new business, I think one of the biggest challenges is that people sometimes want to recreate the wheel, and they think that they need to invent something brand new, and they're not taking stock of, what skills do they have right now that they could provide as a digital service. When we think digital, there are so many ways to create revenue streams. So for me, I wanted to talk about smartphones and blogging about that. In the beginning, before I got started, I knew that I wanted to blog about it, but I wasn't too sure, how do you make money from that? And the more I started to look at or learn the digital space, a lot of opportunities started to open up. So there was opportunities to create ebooks. Using a tool like Canva will allow you to create ebooks for next to nothing. You just need to have the knowledge. You could self-publish on Amazon if you want to, and that's a marketplace right there that you could sell the product on if you don't have a website. And if you have a website, you could sell your ebooks on there. You could provide digital services. So COVID hit, a lot of my plans got scrapped, but in learning how to build my blog, I've also learned how to build websites. So one of the first things I did was I'm like, okay, let me start building some websites. And that's a digital service that I could do right from my room. And I had clients to come in through that. So when you start to build your business, you have to learn a few different skills, and all of those skills can be leveraged as a service, or you could turn into a product and sell. That's going to easily allow you to pivot. Then if you have as an existing business or you are looking to create a new one, start looking at, what kind of platforms do you need? So if you have physical products, but you don't have a website, you could start looking at a platform like Figaro, Fygaro. And Figaro is a Caribbean-based, or they're Caribbean focused and Latin American focused. That's a company out of Costa Rica that services our region, and they have created some very unique partnerships that service our region very well. They operate like Shopify, so they already have the platform, so you can post your products and services on the platform. They use First Atlantic Commerce and PayPal as a payment processor, and First Atlantic Commerce services the entire Caribbean region for you to be able to accept the payments, and you would need a merchant bank account. And once you have a merchant bank account from your bank, it would connect with First Atlantic Commerce for you to be able to receive the payments. And then they also have a partnership with DHL for the logistics half of it. So if you have a product or if you have a service, you can also use Figaro to send digital invoices to your clients to be able to get paid. And then if you have the physical products, you could post it up on there, create your own shop, use one of the payment processors, and then ship it out. So start looking at, what do you want to digitize? Start looking at some of the opportunities that are some of the tools that we have available to us in the Caribbean. And if you start with that, things are going to be able to really open up for you. And then it gets into, how to do it.
Okay, so that's a lot of information, some very good information. I had heard about Figaro, but was not aware of what it is they do. So it's good that you were able to say that, so that it's something that perhaps our attendees, if they're interested, can go do research on and just investigate to see how well it fits in with their service. Now, in your discussion just now, you also mentioned that a lot of people are still relying on the traditional roles in their organization. So the IT person, they're putting in charge of dealing with the website and so on. And you mentioned the fact that marketing is being done in the kind of older ways of doing marketing, like television, radio, newspaper, and so on. And people are not using social media. So two questions I want to ask. Mm-hmm. You're saying that people aren't using social media, or they're not using it effectively. So what are some of the effective ways of using social media? You mentioned Facebook and Instagram. And then what are some of the real skills that an organization should have? And note I'm saying skills because if it's a small entity, they might not be able to employ a person to fill that role, but what is the skill that they should have?
So when we say not effectively, most businesses, if they are on Facebook and they are on Instagram, they will simply create a picture of a product, post it, and the first thing they do is they hit boost, throw money behind it, and they have no idea exactly what boost does. They just know that it goes out to more people, and they're not tracking their conversion rate or anything like that. When we talk about using it effectively, it's for one, Facebook has the blueprint, the Facebook Blueprint Academy, that has all of their free courses to learn how to use Facebook's marketing tools for free. Most businesses here haven't heard about it, and their marketing people haven't done the courses. So if it's a business that has a marketing team, most of the marketers would have gone to university for strategic marketing, or again, everything that was offline. But then when it's digital marketing, most of the companies that I've seen and deal with are usually outsourcing that to other businesses. So even just starting with jumping on Facebook Blueprint Academy, having your team, or if you are a small business, again, I'm a solopreneur myself, doing the free courses on Facebook Blueprint Academy so that you could learn just how to use the platform. When one of the most powerful digital marketing tools right now that most businesses are not employing is something called retargeting. Now, retargeting relies on you having a website. So again, the reason why they're not using it is because most businesses don't have a website. But retargeting relies on something called pixels. And pixels are a piece of software code that is on your website. And what it does is it tags every visitor to your website. And the four main pixels being used are Facebook pixel, Google pixel, Twitter pixel, and the Taboola pixel. I'm gonna use Facebook as an example. When we're building an audience in Facebook, so if you've used Facebook and you've just hit boost, chances are you might have tried to put some demographics in that as to what you think your ideal client is, and you'll put those demographics in and hit boost, and you say a prayer and hopefully people come in. You can get really targeted with pixels because a pixel will tag your site visitor. Then we can go into the Facebook Ads Manager and we could say, hey, we want to create a custom audience, but I want you to use all of this site visitor data from the pixel. I want you to import it into Facebook, and I want you to find all of the people who have visited my website with a Facebook profile, and let's turn that into an audience. Now, when I'm gonna go and make a post and hit boost, when I'm selecting an audience, I'm gonna select the audience that my pixel created. That way I can now market to warm traffic. I can market to people who have come into my website, who are familiar with my website, and they're not just seeing it for the very first time. So that's just one tactic that, again, most businesses are not using. And again, they're not using Facebook, which is the #1 social media platform, and by far for a very good reason. There's just a lot of capabilities and tools. And can you refresh me on your second question that you had? The second part of the question.
Sure. The second part of the question was what skills and capabilities the organization needs to have, even if it's not individuals, that's separate individuals filling the role.
Yeah. So start looking at digital marketing. You have platforms like HubSpot, Hootsuite, digitalmarketer.com that offer so many free courses, and then they'll charge you to actually become certified in that particular skill. Start looking at digital marketing. Start looking at social media marketing courses. Digital marketing is more of the parent. Social media is just a segment of digital marketing. Start looking at things like SEO. If you can specialize in SEO, search engine optimization, you are going to be gold for the Caribbean, because search engine optimization exposes you to a lot of data tools, and those data tools will give you some great insights onto every business's audience, what their client is looking for, how people are finding them. After you learn about what your audience is searching for based on Google data or any of the search engine data, you can now teach your businesses that you're working with how to optimize the content to be found online. The better you can optimize your content and attract the right people, it's going to be a lot easier to convert those people into paying customers. So if you can become an SEO expert, you're going to be gold moving forward. And also, if you learn how to do websites, if you can do it for yourself, because we have so many platforms like WordPress, Squarespace, Wix, Shopify. If you can learn how to build websites, again, you're gonna be in demand. You're really, really, really gonna be in demand, because right now, the majority of the companies that people are going to for websites hit them with a price that most small to medium businesses can't afford. And even if they can go take a loan, they don't know when they're going to get that money back. And they're going to be relying on you to help them with not just building the website, but teaching them how to create content, how to optimize their pages so that they can attract the right customers, and they can start to see how that money is going to come back into the business after they make that sizable investment. So those are some of the key skills I think right now. If you learn, whether you're a small business, there's a lot of free courses and free content to at least get started. And then if you want to take it up a notch and start to become certified in those skills, you're going to be in high demand.
All right, well, thank you very much for saying that, because we often get the question on here where individuals are really asking for some guidance on the kinds of careers that are likely to be coming in the future and options that they can take if they want to start their own business. So that's a very good point. Some good advice that you've given there. Now, Stephen, I am coming to you to hear a little bit more from you about the payment situation. Now, we know that being able to receive payment online from international sources is a big issue across the Caribbean right now. There are some options that people can tap into that work, but they're not indigenous, they're not seamless, and a lot of them are expensive because you may need to have merchant accounts, you have to go through banks and so on. So tell us a little bit about digital currency and perhaps how it avoids that as an issue and makes it more accessible to the average person on the street. You mentioned like a coconut vendor.
Right, okay. Yeah, so digital currency is a broad umbrella term, and it really refers to any form of money that's in a digital state. So deposits on a bank account would be considered digital money. Central bank digital currencies or digital money. Cryptocurrencies can be seen as digital money. So it's like a large umbrella term. Now, what I want to really focus in on is the fact that these forms of digital currency and the need for digital payments is here with us. We know we live in a global economy, and focusing on small markets in the Caribbean is not necessarily going to make us very successful, and it's not necessarily a very lucrative option. You know, you need to target bigger markets, and being able to facilitate remote payments is a key factor for that economic development and that wealth generation for small businesses, right? You need a way to be earning money at night when you're sleeping, really. That's the ultimate goal. And digital currencies can help. So what we see, as I mentioned in my introductory comments, is central banks are now making a move to digitize their dollar to allow for the average citizen, the average small business who doesn't have large sums of money to capitalize on this new payments infrastructure to be able to add a plugin on their website and be able to receive digital payments. Now, it gets more complex because we have currency conversions when we are thinking about receiving payments internationally. But as more central banks digitize their currency, then we can have settlement in digital currencies. And this is one of the initiatives that BIT is spearheading along with the CARICOM heads of governments to create what's called a Caribbean settlement network. And this is a longer term vision, but the idea is that countries who participate in this network can settle without the need for going through corresponding banking relationships. So what that means is I could have a business in Barbados, and I can have customers in Trinidad or the EC Islands paying me, and my central bank can settle with the ECCB via this Caribbean settlement network. And this settlement doesn't have to go through the US or Canada or the UK for settlement. So it allows us to build kind of regional solutions to solve regional problems and to fuel the economic development that we need in the region, definitely.
And what impact does that have on the cost of doing business? Does that reduce it, or does it not change? Does it make it cheaper, I should say, or does it not have any impact at all?
Oh, well, definitely we foresee that this will significantly reduce costs. You know, transfers via the traditional infrastructure can have as many as 7 or 8 hops between correspondent banks. So literally, I can be here in Barbados and I'm paying a supplier in Trinidad, and that can take, you know, sometimes a week, and it can pass through 7 or 8 different banks, and each of them take a fee, right? And it's just ridiculous. So that's why the point is we need our own infrastructure to be able to create our own wealth within the region and solve our own problems. It wouldn't necessarily be free, but it definitely wouldn't be as expensive as having to go through, you know, all of those correspondent banks and pay all of these US companies to use their infrastructure.
Okay, and that's why I asked that question, because I do know that for a lot of smaller businesses, being able to access merchant banking is it's almost prohibitive because it's very expensive, and every activity and so on. I actually know people who say they don't accept credit cards because what's associated with that, what they have to pay out, it's just so high for them. So let me ask you this: if digital currencies have such benefits for the region, it allows more people to engage in the practice, the commercial activities and so on, why isn't it happening already? What are the hindrances that exist in the region now that are preventing some that are preventing some governments or nations from just adopting this as a way to move forward?
The hindrances are really, for me, what I see is a lack of knowledge and a lack of willingness to have a bigger vision. You know, for me, I see that some central banks can be more risk averse than others. They can have other strategic objectives, or just not really understand the potential, or really want to test and to see and to learn. You know, they're more focused on day-to-day job and not necessarily thinking about a bigger vision for how transformation can happen. And you know, if we're talking about vision, we have to talk about the ECCB in the region and their strategic vision for the region by 2021. You know, next year, they're very keen on reducing cash payments, reducing cash in circulation by 50%, and really fueling the economic development and transformation of the EC Islands. Now, earlier in your comments, you mentioned the prohibitive cost and the issues that merchants have with the existing infrastructure and the existing opportunities for payments. And this is the reason, in my opinion, why we have so much cash, because it's just simpler, it's easier. You don't have settlement risk that exists with cards, where you have chargebacks, etc., as well as you don't have the length of time to wait on checks to clear and all the frictions that go around with checks. So businesses are keen to take cash because, yes, they can bank that immediately. So what central bank issued digital currency is basically a digital form of cash. This currency remains a liability on the central bank at all times. So the same notes you have in your purse or your wallet, just in digital form on your mobile phone on a secure application. So what this does, in effect, it lowers the barriers for merchants to participate in a digital space, in a digital economy, where they can download an app from the App Store and consumers coming in can pay them digitally. They can be in bed and they have a cart working online, and customers can be buying goods. They wake up in the morning, they see the orders, and they ship them out. You know, this is the future that we are going to. And what has happened is private companies, private corporations are starting to provide these types of services. We have cryptocurrencies as well. And these present a risk to central banks in terms of their ability to have effective monetary policy. Imagine if everybody was to start using a particular private coin, then the central bank kind of loses its relevance. So that has been one of the motivating factors for central banks to provide this digital form of central bank cash that can meet the needs of the market. And that has been one of the main motivating factors. You know, like, money is really a public good. Like, you know, it shouldn't be so difficult for a small business person to be able to receive payments digitally and to be able to meet their customers where they are and to be able to offer services in 2020. You know, like, we are almost 20 years behind now. And, you know, we need to make those changes. And a lot of the central banks globally are waking up and conducting the research, conducting the tests. The ECCB is one of the front runners. We also have the Central Bank of Bahamas piloting a digital currency. And they really have a burning platform, because in Bahamas, they have a lot of small islands, and moving money between islands can have frictions. And in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, they share the EC dollar, but they're disconnected by, you know, their archipelago again, and they have water separating the territories. So if I'm in Grenada and you're in St. Lucia, and I want to send you money, it takes 3 days and it costs me 100 EC dollars. And you know, these are the kinds of frictions that are really prohibiting businesses from growing and really stifling the transformation that we need in the region.
Absolutely. And more, as you say, in 2020, we definitely need to be in a position that we need to move beyond it. We should have done it before, we haven't, but we all know are on burning platforms. So there might be a bigger one or a more dire one, as you have mentioned, in the Bahamas or in the OECS, but the entire region now is in a position that really, if we don't step up, and one of these other sessions we had says that if there are not serious changes made in the region in the next few years, so by like 2050, we could find that the Caribbean is one of the poorest regions in the world. So we really need to get out there and start seriously engaging in the kinds of activities that people want to be able to do, international trade and so on. Now, I have a few questions that have come in specifically with regards to the discussion about digital currency. The first one is, if the transaction is extra-regional, can use of the central bank digital currency circumvent involving an international correspondent bank?
Yes, definitely. So central banks can have bilateral settlement arrangements. So let's say there's a lot of trade going on between Barbados and Trinidad. The two central banks can form a settlement arrangement, and they can settle in each other's dollars using new infrastructure or even existing infrastructure via the RTGS. So it's possible to do this without needing correspondent banking relationships.
Okay. And the next one is, where do you see the role of regional credit unions in what seems like an inevitable digital currency revolution?
So yeah, the credit unions have a very important role to play, and you know, they have large membership. They provide lots of loans and fuel certain segments of the society. And I think credit unions need to step up and to challenge, and in some ways they are doing that. Getting direct access to the central bank is one of the things that has hampered credit unions, and we are seeing strides and movement towards getting direct access to central bank currency. But again, a central bank issued digital currency will provide that direct access and would allow credit unions to offer better services at more competitive rates, because they don't have the commercial bank middleman in between them and direct access to the central bank currency. So I think continuing to offer mobile and merchant services, mobile payments, you know, delivering the value to the customer. That's what's really lacking. You know, we're still forced to do things in a way that it's very antiquated. You know, we want to be able to make payments remotely. You know, the Caribbean region has a very young demographic, people who use social media, who use digital channels, and we need to provide the solutions. We need to provide the quality of services that this region really needs and desires.
Okay, and even though I hear what you're saying about demographics, I think it even goes beyond that. I think as a region, regardless of age, a lot of our people are used to doing that kind of international business where we are all able to reach out and buy things internationally. So it almost makes sense that you want to be able to sell things internationally. So I'm agreeing with you that there's a lot of that as part of our mindset and our psyche, and it becomes a pressing need for those who have services and recognize that there's a lot of potential out there in the market that they could tap into. So thank you for those responses. Now, Keron, I'm coming to you with this next question. We have someone asking, how can a small business get involved in the digital economy, and what changes are necessary to achieve this?
So you want to start looking at selling your products and services online. So for one, start looking at building a website. You have services like WePay that have made accepting payments online even easier than ever before. Their know your customer process to even get onboarded is so much easier than if you were to go through a bank to go and get a merchant ID account. With WePay, you do everything online, 2 forms of ID, proof of address, your business registration, and that's all you need to get that payment processor. And that would allow you where if you are, you know, if you're doing a digital service, so for me as an example, if I'm doing websites and my customer is in St. Lucia, Grenada, or Jamaica, I can use WePay, send them an invoice, and that person can pay me with a credit card. And I would be able to receive that money. Also, on one of my websites, I use WePay to process all the payments for my smartphone products. So start thinking about, you know, what you could sell online. If you're a business like you're a restaurant, or maybe you're a bakery, you have to sell you're selling a tangible good, right? So maybe you have a website, or maybe if in your country there is a food drop service app. So we have a lot of them here in Trinidad that have just come out, and more businesses are putting their business on the app, so people can purchase the products from the app, and then the logistics are set up where a driver can come pick up the goods and deliver it. That business itself, some of those businesses don't even have their own website. That is just like the first and only piece of digital platform that they are on. So start looking at your website. If you're in a country that has a service like a WePay, that's a payment processor that you can use to start processing your payments. And then also start looking at if, depending on the country that you are in, if your country has an application that is a marketplace that you can be able to sell your goods, and if there's some logistics that come with that application as well.
Okay, and I hear you mention WePay, and I know that WePay is a service I think that's available in Trinidad, definitely, and I think it's being launched in Jamaica, and I think it's already been launched in Barbados.
So I'll add to that. So right now they're in Trinidad, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Guyana, and Barbados. Okay,
so if you're in any of those territories, you can always reach out to those organizations to try to get more information about it. And that's WePay, WIPAY. All right, so now the questions are coming fast and furious. We actually have a question in the chat where someone is saying that it really goes beyond, Stephen, it really goes beyond what you said, that it's not just simply a lack of knowledge, but the person's also suggesting that there's a wider discussion and additional issues that need to be addressed on digital payments beyond just that fact that we don't understand a lot of what is needed. He said there is private digital payments, such as on centralized or decentralized platforms. And then he's mentioned the proposed open payments network. Now, do you have any response to the comment?
Yes, so it is a large issue, and but what my specialty is and what I'm bringing to the table is really sovereign digital currency. This isn't like global payments. This is really a central bank solving problems within its jurisdiction. And you know, we start small and then we go bigger with this solution. So even not thinking internationally, you know, I should be able to send digital cash to you right now, Marjorie, in 2020, if you see what I mean. That's the problem that we need to solve. And while we have financial infrastructure like ACH networks and RTGS networks, those they're really at the wholesale layer, and you need to leverage a financial institution. Where is the peer-to-peer solution? Why can't I just pull out my phone, put in your phone number, and send you money today? You know, why do I have to use a PayPal or a WePay or something else to do that? That is still using, you know, these international commercial banking rails and correspondent banking rails. Like, you know, at its very basic level, in my opinion, the central banks in the region need to provide these solutions to allow the region to develop faster. And while there may be some workaround solutions, and you know, these come at a serious cost. And what distributed ledger technology brings, and you know, these modern kind of payment system infrastructures, is really peer-to-peer transactions. When I'm sending directly to you, there's nobody between us that's charging a fee. You know, if there's a fee involved, it's basically going to be for using the infrastructure, which is going to be much lower, right? Especially if the central bank or some government agency is maintaining the infrastructure as a public good. So yes, you know, there are other opportunities with open payments networks and different things, but you know, those can still be prohibitive. You know, what we're talking about is opportunity for the central banks to provide something that is very accessible. You know, anytime you deal with a private company, they're definitely going to be charging a fee. They're going to be thinking about shareholders and profit. And for something as important as money and payments, I think we need to think differently when we are thinking about how can we provide solutions.
Okay. Are there any platforms locally or internationally that allow you to receive payments or make payments from M-Money as similar to local digital facilities?
Can you repeat that again?
Are there any platforms locally or internationally that allow you to receive payments to or make payments from M-Money as similar local digital facilities?
Yes, there are merchants that offer M-Money on their websites, you know, ranging from import-export businesses all the way through to retail. So they have installed the M-Money plugin on their website, a simple few lines of code. You just add it to your cart and you can click that to pay with M-Money. And this allows them to receive M-Money into their digital wallet instantly, and be able to, they can then convert that to their traditional deposits, or they can cash out to physical notes and coins if they choose as a business. So that solution is one of the solutions that BIT has provided. And for those that don't know, M-Money is a digital token of the Barbados dollar. So we take the Barbados dollar, we digitize it, and we allow individuals to transact peer-to-peer digitally.
All right, thank you. And Keron, this one is for you. Someone's asking, would WePay be connected to your bank account to allow the cash to go there?
Yes. So the good thing with WePay is that you don't need a merchant account, right? You would, after you submit your business registration, the bank account that is registered in your business name, that is what you would use to receive the money from WePay, and they would deposit that money into that account.
Okay. All right. Clear, precise answer. So someone's following up on the question about the correspondent bank. The example given just now in the response was for circumventing an international correspondent bank that was a regional one. Would the same thing apply for trade between, say, Dominica and China?
Yeah, sure. So again, the responsibility here, China has launched and started piloting their digital yen, their digital currency. The central bank there, which is an awesome move globally, because obviously it's going to motivate the US, it's going to motivate the Eurozone and various other regions to also look at this. But what would really need to happen is that bilateral settlement agreement between the ECCB as the monetary authority for Dominica and the People's Bank of China. They would need to agree on how they want to settle bilaterally to facilitate that settlement, even down to the consumer layer. So if I explain it a little more, go a little broader, what this will facilitate is I, as a consumer or a merchant, I can make a payment directly to someone in China. So I have a business in Dominica, I have a supplier in China. If this bilateral settlement agreement is set up between the two central banks, what that would allow is, or the vision for it is that as a consumer with a mobile app, I can pay my supplier directly and they get it in seconds, right? And that's a phenomenal advancement to what we have today. And it allows a significant reduction in costs and time and effort, and all the headaches that come with the existing system. Sometimes you send a wire transfer and it's lost in the ether for a week, and your bank doesn't know where it is. You don't know where it is. All you can do is check to see if it arrived. I think the time for payments like that is gone. Like, we need to move past that, and it just takes vision and the desire to solve these problems, and BIT is one of the companies that's leading the charge globally.
Okay. Keron, we have a question here. What other suggested options are there if WePay is not available?
Well, this is where Steven's going to have to come in and start to build some solutions for us, because we're pretty limited.
Okay.
Really and truly, if you want to take payments Caribbean-wide, if WePay is not available, you have the option of First Atlantic Commerce, but you'll need a merchant account. There is also a company called BuzzPay that you can use, and they service the Caribbean as well, where you could receive payments. And then there is PayPal. Now, the thing with PayPal is, if you're going to be receiving the money, you need to ensure that PayPal deposits in your country, and then you have to look at how they deposit in your country. So for Trinidad, one of the biggest mistakes that happens Caribbean-wide with people using PayPal is they think that when they're registering, they need to connect their bank account in order to receive the money. And then when they try it, they're going to get an error saying it's not available, and then they just forget all about it. But the connecting of the bank account in PayPal is only available for the US, Canada, and the UK. It's not available for the Caribbean region. How we receive payments from PayPal is we would be using our Visa debit cards. So PayPal does deposits to Visa-enabled accounts. If you are going to be using a credit card to receive that money, understand that if you're putting it on your credit card, there are the higher fees associated with using or withdrawing the money from a credit card, because you still have the cash advance fees. Personally, I don't like to do that. I hate losing all the money in fees. So I deposit the money into my savings account, and I use a bank called JMB. And JMB gives me a Visa debit card that allows me to receive the money. So for us, we have to leverage the PayPal and Visa their collaboration in order for us to receive that money from PayPal funds. And so I know somebody's going to ask us in the chat right after this, but they'll ask, would it keep the money in USD? And that all depends on the account that you are depositing it to. So for here in Trinidad, we have a card called the Republic VTM card. And because that card is set up in USD, whenever I want to keep my PayPal funds in US, I would deposit to that specific card. If I'm going to deposit into my JMB card, because that account is a TT dollar account, as soon as JMB gets the money, they convert it into my local currency and it stays in my TT dollars.
Okay, thank you for talking about that, because there is often a lot of questions and queries about PayPal and how well it works, particularly for the region. So it's good that you were able to clarify that. And you're saying JMMB as the bank that you, I was just slowing it down so that people with different accents would understand. So the bank is JMMB. All right.
That's if you're in Trinidad, but if in whatever country you are in, just ensure that your bank has the Visa debit cards, and then double check with PayPal if they are depositing into your country.
Absolutely. So that was the other part I was going to say, that you need to check in your own territory to see what is available. I had a discussion yesterday and discovered that in Barbados, CIBC First Caribbean has a connection that allows you to do the same thing to what you've described that happens in Trinidad, where you can use your Visa debit card. So you may just want to get in touch with your bank to find out if your bank has something that's available, or just look at the options that are there. Now, we have a question here that's asking, can you speak to where Barbados is at, or the current outlook in terms of framework legislation to facilitate and regulate digital currency transactions? So I don't know how much you have that you can share about that right now, Stephen.
Sure. So there's a new payments act that's going before the Parliament, going before the House, that will allow greater access to payment system infrastructure, and that's a small step and a good step to make more accessible payments. Hearing Keron speak, it's, what's really coming home to me is that you really can't do anything without a commercial bank account or access to Visa cards, and all of these things come at tremendous cost, right? Like, you don't even realize, most merchants in Barbados, or a large percentage of small and medium merchants, they don't have card readers because of the fees. So it's really, in a way, sad that in 2020, there are very little options available. Now, cryptocurrencies are another option. You can add Bitcoin payments on your website easily. You can add, Ethereum and other cryptocurrency payments on your website as a way of receiving payment for goods and services. But there are a whole host of regulatory concerns around that, and it's, the banks don't like it. So if you're receiving crypto, because of the pseudo-anonymous ability of payments, it kind of puts you in a higher risk in terms of anti-money laundering and financing terrorism. So, this is where the central banks are starting to step up and to provide digital, this central bank issued digital currency infrastructure that creates a more accessible infrastructure for merchants to be able to offer payments that don't rely on the Visa or MasterCard network, that have to go all around the world and collect all of these fees. Just so I'm here in St. Michael, you're in St. George, I want to pay you, but that payment has to go around the world twice and collect, 10 US in fees. It's just totally ridiculous. And that's why we're seeing the motivation from central banks to step up and to offer this infrastructure that will solve some of these problems.
Okay, we have someone who asked actually something that ties into that. They were asking, what about in terms of peer-to-peer mobile payments?
Yeah, so M-Money is a local peer-to-peer mobile payment product that BIT offers. and it allows individuals to top up their mobile phone so you exchange physical notes and coins at a teller, and they will send you the equivalent in digital currency. Then you can then send that anywhere. You can pay your bills directly from on the app. You can top up your airtime for your prepaid mobile phone. You know, there are various other things you can do. There are various online merchants, as I mentioned, that offer pay with their money. So even the government of Barbados, via the EasyPay Plus platform, takes payments in money. So you can log in there, pay your taxes, pay your license for your car, pay a number of other things using money. So, you know, that what we've done with money is really try to demonstrate how digital payments can solve problems in an economy.
Okay. And is that service also available in the in the OECS as well, or plans to get there?
There are plans, but the approach we've taken in the Eastern Caribbean is different in that what BIT has done in Barbados is tokenize the Barbados dollar. So we've been through the regulatory sandbox, the only financial services provider to do that to this date. And we maintain 101% reserves of each dollar in our money ecosystem. So what am I saying? Well, in a nutshell, we take a physical dollar and we give you a digital version. And that allows you to facilitate the digital payments, peer-to-peer, paying merchants, online payments. All of the feature set that we have, all of the value that we bring is via a tokenized version. Now in the EC, the central bank is actually issuing the digital currency. So there's no need to tokenize it. It comes with the same reserve backing. It comes with the same regulatory framework as the physical dollar. So it's just a physical dollar digitized. So it makes up part of currency in circulation, and it has all of the governance controls of physical notes and coins. It's just a digital version. So that removes the need to have physical notes and coins held in a bank account somewhere to back it, right? It's already backed by the central bank. So that in itself, because it's not a private company like how it is in Barbados with their money, there is that, how can I explain it? There is that confidence in the system, you know, like your EC dollar is confident, you're confident in it, you know, so the same thing applies.
It's an EC dollar, it's just that it's a digital form of the EC dollar.
Yes,
so
yes.
The only thing that has changed is instead of you having the coin in your hand or paper in your hand, you have it in your wallet on your phone.
Yep.
Got it.
And the infrastructure, everything is maintained by the ECCB. So you have that confidence. You're not relying on a private company. You don't have that risk, you know, it's a very good solution to allow, you know, greater levels of adoption.
Okay. Now, Keron, you were about to add when I jumped in. You were about to add to what Stephen had been saying.
Oh, so I was going to say that, you know, you guys are further ahead than us in some serious aspects because we don't have that for us. But one of the things that is coming out in terms of peer-to-peer transactions is that WePay has been building out their new network called Rebel. And Rebel, when it finally launches, hopefully within the next month or so, is going to finally allow Trinis to be able to move money from a peer-to-peer standpoint. So that is something for anybody that's watching in Trinidad to look out to.
Yeah, we usually have a few people from Trinidad on as well, so that's good information for them to know. We have someone asking about Square. Persons in the US use Square. Can it be used in Barbados, or is there an app that ties in for us here? Anybody knows? Which probably means it's not available. It probably means that that's not available here.
I haven't heard of Square being used here.
Yeah, of all of the options, when I put that question out there into the world, that did not come up as one. So that's not one that's currently available. But one of the things that I've understood is if you keep asking service providers about something and enough of the customers ask about it, they will investigate making it available. So I have another question about WhatsApp. Someone is saying that they understand WhatsApp has recently added a digital payment feature, which they will be launching in Brazil. How is it different from WePay and PayPal? Is that something that we can get a response to?
Yeah, I've had a brief look at it. I saw the articles. I don't understand. I didn't get any knowledge of the underlying infrastructure or technology. It's probably likely going to be leveraging bank accounts. So you probably have to register and have a bank account. And for me, this is the problem I see. You know, everything still relies on the financial institutions, the banks, and what the central bank digital currency offers is a more financially inclusive solution, where the coconut vendor who doesn't have a bank account or can't afford to use a bank account in the way others in society can still participate and make digital payments. So yeah, I do need to read a bit more and understand what the underlying infrastructure is for the WhatsApp payment solution in Brazil. But I would like to assume that it's probably going to be leveraging bank accounts in some way.
Yeah, they haven't put much out in terms of, just like you said, the underlying technology. And looking at it, that was my first thought process as well, is that you most likely will have to register your bank account, and it just pulls the funds from there, and just makes it easier to move money. But you know, like you said, it's still relying on the banks to be involved and have their fees, if that is the way that they are doing it. In terms of if it's like PayPal, well, PayPal, you still need a bank account. WePay as is, you can tokenize money on WePay. Like you can go to a vendor, they can take your cash, tokenize it, and make it a digital dollar, and it goes into your WePay wallet, and then you can send that to somebody else that has a WePay account. But in its current infrastructure with WePay, if you're going to withdraw that money, it has to go to the bank and ACH payment into somebody else's bank account. The difference with Rebel is that they are going to be creating almost like a parallel network, and they're going to be giving you a physical card and a virtual card that is going to be using with their partnership through MasterCard, and it'll just be on the Rebel network. It's not going to pass through a bank. So that'll be kind of be the difference between what the WhatsApp Pay and Rebel will be doing.
Okay, so the question here then that's asking, if you're a small business owner with your business registration, but you don't have a business account, just a personal account, can WePay still transfer my payments to my personal account?
Yes. So the difference between the personal and the business account is that they can process payments for personal accounts, but I think it is capped at 5,000 TT dollars. I'm thinking from a TT perspective. I don't know what the caps are for the other territories, but from what I know, 5,000 on a personal account is the cap, and then when you put your business information in to satisfy the central bank regulations, you're able to process whatever. I don't think there's a limit to how much you can process.
Okay. We have someone here concerned about legal funds and ensuring that funds are legally acquired. If the money doesn't pass through a corresponding bank, so this is when you're doing international transactions, how are you going to determine that the money coming to your business was obtained through legal means?
Right. So there will be AML checks and balances in place in the local payment system infrastructure, but you know, the value here is that having two central banks settle together means that you don't need to leverage the correspondent relationships. Even with the correspondent relationships in place, like SWIFT, etc., the local payment system process still also ensures AML compliance. So I'm not saying that you will circumvent AML compliance. I'm just saying that by having two central banks settle directly, you don't need to pass money through. You don't need foreign reserves. You don't need to convert to US as a settlement rail and then pass it through JP Morgan and all these banks. What this allows is the central banks can settle directly, and all the existing AML policies would of course be adhered to.
All right. And we have someone here confirming the previous comment about PayPal and CIBC First Caribbean. They're saying, yes, in Barbados, you can get funds via PayPal on a CIBC First Caribbean Visa debit card, only it gets converted to Barbados dollars. And I think that's perhaps because we don't have that same flexibility with having US dollar accounts. So thank you for adding that comment. Someone is saying that they found the Repay Caribbean website, but they're not finding the Figaro website. So what is the address? What's the URL? And is it Figaro or FY?
Well, I just put it in the chat, but it is
All
fygaro.com.
So that may have been why you weren't finding it. So it's FY.
Yeah, and I just posted it in the Q&A as well.
Okay. For a student who is in the US and wants to send money to pay their student loan back home, what is the best option for doing that to avoid additional fees, if any?
Yeah, I mean, today you're still using traditional rails where you go to a bank and you do a wire transfer. I don't think there's another option that I'm aware of, at least at the moment.
Okay. So right now, not a lot of options. All right. Can someone who is not from Barbados use BIT or M-Money, use the BIT or M-Money platform? So I assume that means that the person is not in Barbados, they're outside of Barbados and they want to use it.
So the thing about M-Money is that it's a digital version of the Barbados dollar. So it is, well, in theory, you can create an account, but you won't be able to fund your wallet unless you had someone from Barbados send you money, which is possible, but then there's nowhere where you are to spend because there isn't a merchant network, there isn't, you know, it's not deployed in that region. So in a nutshell, it's basically only for Barbados. It's a digital Barbados dollar, is a tokenized version of the physical notes and coins. It's not like we have people in other parts of the world accepting payments in Barbados dollars. You know, they accept their local currency or maybe US dollars or pounds or euros as hard currency, but Barbados dollar is not really seen as a hard currency. So in a nutshell, it's just for Barbados.
Okay. And can e-money work in Barbados also? So I assume that this person is talking about the OECS digital dollar. Will that be able to work in Barbados as well?
So it can, and that's what we're working towards. Initially, the deployment would just be for the EC islands. That's where the EC dollar is legal tender. So it will work for those territories that are within the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. Moving beyond that into phase 2, so to speak, we would have to facilitate cross-border currency exchanges. Because don't forget, this is legal tender, and it has, you know, foreign exchange controls, and these kinds of policies are in place. So a solution provider like BIT, we would need to navigate those waters to provide a solution where an individual in the OECS islands can make a payment to a Barbados merchant and have that currency conversion happen within the background, and the merchant in Barbados receive currency, whether in Barbados dollars or EC dollars. You know, there's some stuff to figure out there, but that is on the roadmap. That is where we're going. You know, we do want to have a more digitally connected region where currencies are interchangeable and individuals can make payments directly And the Caribbean Settlement Network is part of that vision, where we can have central banks facilitating those currency swaps directly without the need for going through correspondent banks.
All right. We have someone from Facebook asking, how can I use M-Money today?
Sure, so you can download the app. It's a very easy sign-up process. You can start transacting immediately. You can visit a teller, you can give them cash, they will give you digital dollars equivalent, and straight away you can start topping up your phone or your friend's phone, prepaid phone. We have Flow and Digicel in there. You can start paying your bills. We have Sure Pay in there. You can pay all your bills. You don't have to go stand in the queue. You can pay your bills. And then you can also, as I mentioned, through the Easy Pay Plus platform, you can pay for some government services. Visit the Easy Pay Plus website. You can pay using M-Money there, as well as you can pay merchants that participate. There's a map with merchants. You can see the merchants on the map on the app, as well as you can pay your peers. So you went out for drinks, someone owes you money, you can request payment. They get an email, you know, you owe Stephen $500, pay me now, please. You know, so there's lots of functionality in there to use today.
Okay, and you said that you just visit a teller, give them your dollars, and they will put the M-Money. They'll put the digital dollars into your wallet. So where do people go to find that information about those tellers?
Of course, we have a very kind of modern and, you know, advanced solution in M-Money. We've been around for a while, so we've adapted and improved over the years. So right from within the app, you go to merchants, you click on tellers, and you can see the full list of tellers where you can go. You can see it on the map, and you know, it's really simple. You can find someone, or you can come to the BIT offices if you feel more comfortable dealing with us directly, and you can cash in, say, $200-300, and then you can start making your payments and sending to your friends, etc.
So the trick is just download the app. So go to the app store, look for the app, download the app, and it will give you the information that you need. We have another.
mmoneybb.com. mmoneybb.com.
Okay. Also from Facebook, if I have a WePay account, can I use money from persons in all? Can I receive money? Sorry, from persons in all Caribbean countries? So, Keron?
You could receive money globally. So anybody, anywhere in the world can pay you. And so like I receive client money from clients in the UK, I've received it in Canada. So anywhere in the world, people can pay you. You can either send them an invoice, and WePay will do one of two things. If you want to keep the money in US currency, you have to set up WePay's, you have to apply for WePay's US processor. And then when you're sending out the invoices, or if you put in the processor on your website, they can keep the money in US, and it will go directly into your local US account, your local cash US account. Or if you don't have that, it'll just convert into your local currency. But yes, you'll be able to receive from anywhere in the world.
Okay. All right, so we have gone past our official end time, 11:15, but I think we had a very good discussion, and certainly we even have a few more questions that have just come in. So let me see you. Okay, we have already the answer to where do I go to sign up for M-Money. That was answered. And someone is asking, will the WePay Rebel card be released this year? Because they've been following up with WePay since March about it.
Yeah, so it is ready. They're waiting for something from central bank. I forget the exact terminology, but it's ready. It could go live at any point in time. You'll be able to you will hear that card is being released. I would like to believe within this next month that card is coming out. So if WePay is listening, please hurry up.
All right, and for the person asking about where they can go to sign up for M-Money, you just download the app, mmoney.bb. Did I get it right, Stephen?
mmoneybb.com.
Sorry, mmoneybd.com. So I was halfway there. And we have someone asking, is there any way I can find a list of countries with central banks who are undergoing digital transformation?
Sure. There are a few websites. I think one is centralbankinfo.org. No, cbdcinfo.org. I don't have it off the top of my head, to be honest, but you can Google it or use another search engine. But just search Bank for International Settlements also is a good resource. And on bit.com, we have a CBDC hub that will also give you lots of information. I think we actually had a post yesterday that had a listing of all the central banks that are doing research. So visit bit.com, bitt.com, and you'll see straight away CBDC hub. You can click on that and go in there. That's a really good resource for everything central bank digital currency related and digital payments related. So definitely visit our website and check that out. And I'm sure you will find a post from yesterday around all the central banks that are actually doing investigations and pilots and research into central bank issued digital currencies.
All right. And thank you very much, gentlemen, and thank you, attendees. We definitely had a very rich discussion. Thank you very much for your questions. As I mentioned at the beginning, I think that this is an ongoing issue. There's a lot of information that we still need to acquire, but the fact that we started the conversation and the fact that we are perhaps now all more aware of what needs to happen in order for us to do a lot more of our business in digital format, I think that the conversation and the learning is going to continue as we move forward. Any closing comments from you two gentlemen? Keron?
Well, go ahead.
No worries.
Sorry.
I just want to tell everybody, you know, things aren't perfect. There's definitely a lot more room for improvement for what we need to do Caribbean wide, but you do have solutions and tools available to get started. Don't wait for everything to be perfect before you get started. Start today. There are solutions available for you now. And then by that time, when you have all the practice of getting your business online and understanding how that entire funnel works, you know, when we have better solutions that are coming for the Caribbean, you're going to be in a much better position mentally, and your customers, your audience, are going to be more accustomed to doing business with you online. So the transition to different tools is going to be more seamless than if you were waiting for things to be perfect and you were still conducting everything offline. So just get started. You're going to make mistakes. Things are not going to be perfect, and just learn from it. But just don't sit still.
Okay. And you have a program that you do on Facebook that shares information with people. How can they find you to get additional information moving forward, just in case that's a resource anybody wants to tap into?
No problem. So I post all of my blog content and video content is available on KeronRose.com. I do share it on my social media platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn as well. June 25th, I'm going to be launching a show called The Digital Age. That is going to be focusing on all different areas of the digital space. So looking at YouTube, podcasting, virtual events, e-commerce. So we have a lot of guests coming in. That is going to be available on my Facebook channel, YouTube, and also on Flow One and Flow On Demand. So that's going to be Caribbean wide with all of that content. That's coming up from June 25th.
All right. Thank you very much. And Stephen, your closing comments?
Yeah, well, you know, I really feel like, you know, we shared a lot of practical information today, and that was really good for me. Keron, he dropped a lot of gems, lots of potential solutions, and I found that really good. Too often we talk a lot, but there isn't anything tangible, and I felt like we definitely solved that problem, so kudos. From my side, you know, I just want to encourage the listening audience to continue to push the regulators, continue to tell them about your needs so that we can, you know, as our voice is raised, they can recognize that there is a need to digitize currency and provide it in a way that's accessible for everyone. You shouldn't have to have a bank account to be able to receive payments in 2020. I mean, So yeah, that's my parting words. I had a great time, and I look forward to the next one.
All right. And where can anyone go to learn more about what's going on with the digital currency in the OECS if they want to look that up?
Sure, they can visit the Eastern Caribbean website, or they can visit bit.com. We have a lot of information there as well. So you can visit the ECCD's website, or you can visit bit.com.
All right. Thank you very much. So thank you, our audience, for joining us today. Our topic has been taking your business online, opportunities and challenges. Thanks to our panelist, tech blogger and educator at Droid Island, Keron Rose, and the Vice President Special Projects at Bit Inc., Stephen Phillips. Thank you for sharing your insights, your ideas, your guidance on the strategies for engaging in more e-commerce activities, and for helping us to understand digital currency in the Caribbean. As always, we invite you, our audience, to keep the conversation going on our Facebook page. Reach out to us if you need any additional information or clarification, or you can also reach out to either one of our panelists. They are available as well to offer information and to keep you updated. For more information on the Sagicor Cave Hill School of Business or our programs, please visit our website, uwichsb.org. Hopefully you will be able to join us for our next and final in the series, our next Friday webinar, Entrepreneurship Experiences from the Field, where we will have 2 experienced entrepreneurs on our panel. I look forward to seeing you then. Please stay safe and continue to stay sane, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
Here at the Sagicor Cave Hill School of Business and Management, located at the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus, we meet the needs of the upwardly mobile professionals. Our business school functions in an evolving global space where the need to have that competitive edge distinguishes you as a professional. Our academic curriculum offers a variety of programs that gives you that edge. We offer our students a doctorate in business administration. Then, there's our executive masters in business administration. Our Sagicor Cave Hill School of Business and Management is for you. Enroll now.